Long ago, in the peaceful village of Okuto, people lived simple lives. They farmed, fished, and traded goods. Life was hard, but everyone helped each other. They believed in hard work and trusted that their gods would bless them in time. One day, a strange woman arrived. She came with a big bag, expensive clothes, and she lived in a big hut and owned various types of livestock, pigs, fowls, goats. Her name was Mama Oyin. Nobody knew where she came from, but she smiled at everyone and gave gifts of food, money, and clothes. The villagers welcomed her. She said she was a herbalist and spiritual healer. Her house was near the river and painted it with white chalk. On the door, she wrote, "Destiny solutions, wealth, health, and power await you." People were curious. Some laughed. Others whispered. But in time, things began to change. Mama Oyin called herself a helper of the poor. She told people, "Your suffering is not your fault. Your destiny has been hidden. Let me help you unlock it." She gave people potions to drink and white cloth to wear. She asked them to come alone at night for a blessing ritual. It cost only a small amount of money, at first. Then things began to happen. Ajayi, a lazy man who drank every day, suddenly became rich. He opened a massive farm and bought land. Mama Folek, a fish seller, became so rich that she stopped selling fish by herself and hired fishermen and workers that sold the fish for her. And even Ijeoma, the ugliest woman in the village who the villagers never expected to get married, got married to a rich man. Everyone was surprised. Everyone started going to Mama Oyin. They gave her money and followed her rules. They wore white. They avoided talking about what happened during the rituals. She told them, "If you speak of what you saw, your blessings will disappear." But for every person who became rich, another person's life became worse. A strange darkness spread through Okuta. Chika, the most beautiful girl, struggled to find a man to marry her. It was as if she was no longer beautiful. Amoka, who had just opened a poultry farm, lost all her customers. Baba Musa's yam farm dried up overnight. Children became sick. Some people went mad. Nobody understood what was happening. People said it was spiritual. Others said it was bad luck. But F, a curious 17-year-old girl, noticed something strange. Her brother, Toby, had gone to Mama Oyin's place. He was tired of being poor. "She can help," he said. He went in full of hope. But after the ritual, he changed. He lost his job as a laborer. He sat in one place all day, staring at the sky. Sometimes, he screamed for no reason. He forgot how to speak. F cried and begged him to tell her what happened, but he only shook his head. She knew something was wrong. And she decided to find out the truth. F began asking questions. She visited everyone who had gone to Mama Oyin. They all refused to talk. They looked scared. Some cried. Others warned her to stop asking. One night, she went to Mama Oyin's house and watched from behind a tree. She saw a man go in. Hours later, he came out with red eyes and shaking hands. He looked confused. The next morning, that same man was in the market, buying various types of livestock and also an expensive bicycle. It was as if he got rich overnight. F's heart beat fast. Something evil was going on. She couldn't understand it, but she couldn't ignore it. She visited the oldest woman in the village, Mama Ejiro, a forgotten seer. People said she was mad. She lived alone in a small hut. F brought her food and sat with her. At first, Mama Ejiro said nothing. But after many visits, she finally spoke. "You're brave," Mama Ejiro said. "And you are right. That woman is a thief, not of money, but of destinies." Mama Ejiro told F a hidden truth. "There are witches who trade in destinies," she said. They steal the bright future of one person and sell it to another. Mama Oyin is one of them. But how? F asked. During her rituals, she uses blood, names, and soul tokens. She exchanges people's fates. A brilliant child becomes a fool. A poor thief becomes a rich man. All for money. F was shocked. So my brother? Yes. His destiny was stolen and sold. Can I get it back? Mama Ejiro nodded slowly. You must catch her in the act. You must destroy her source of power, a black mirror she hides in her shrine. But be careful. If she sees you, she will try to silence you forever. F knew what she had to do. She waited until a festival night when everyone was dancing and drinking. She sneaked into Mama Oyin's house through the back window. Inside, it was dark and cold. Strange sounds filled the air. She followed the smell of blood and herbs. In the center room, she found the shrine. On the floor were names written in red. Items belonging to the villagers were stuck on the walls. In the middle stood a large black mirror covered with white cloth. F walked closer, heart pounding. She lifted the cloth. At once, the mirror glowed. She saw people's faces trapped inside, crying, screaming, begging. She recognized her brother. Suddenly, a voice shouted, "Who are you?" Mama Oyin appeared, eyes red like fire. "You should not be here," she hissed. "Now you will join them." F's heart beat like a drum as Mama Oyin appeared from the shadows. The air grew colder. The ground under her feet trembled slightly. Mama Oyin's eyes glowed red, her hands surrounded by a dark mist that twisted like snakes. "You foolish child," Mama Oyin hissed. "You dare to enter my sacred place. You came too far, little girl, you will pay for this." She raised her arms, and the room darkened completely. The walls dripped with blood. The faces inside the mirror screamed louder. A powerful force threw F backward, slamming her into the wall. Her head spun. She could barely see. But she remembered the small calabash Mama Ejiro had given her. With shaking hands, F pulled it out. "Let light fight darkness," she whispered and smashed it to the ground. There was a flash of blinding light. The smoke around Mama Oyin screamed like a wild animal and retreated, but it wasn't over. Mama Oyin wasn't done yet. She raised her staff and the walls of the shrine began to close in. Fire danced across the ceiling. F dodged a burst of flame, a dagger floated to Mama Oyin's hand, she threw it at F dodged but barely. It cut her arm. And crawled toward the mirror, tears streaming down her face. "You don't know what you're doing," Mama Oyin shouted. "This power is bigger than you. I built an empire with it. I fed your people with it. You fed them lies." F shouted back. "You stole their lives." She reached the mirror and tried to lift a stone, but her hands were weak. The heat in the room was unbearable. Just as she gave up hope, she thought of Toby. She thought of her people. With new strength, F rose and struck the mirror. It cracked, but didn't break. Mama Oyin screamed and rushed toward her with a dagger. F struck again. The mirror shattered completely. A violent wind blew through the shrine. The faces in the mirror shot out like lightning. They spun around the room, wailing. Mama Oyin froze. The dagger fell from her hand. Her body started to shake. "No, no," she gasped as the spirits surrounded her. "I gave you everything. I made you rich." But the spirits didn't listen. They entered her body and tore her from inside. Her skin cracked. Her eyes turned white. She fell to her knees, let out one final scream, and collapsed into dust. The shrine caught fire from within. F stumbled out as the spirits set everything ablaze. The people of Okuto gathered around the ashes of Mama Oyin's house. No one spoke at first. They only stared. Then something incredible began to happen. Children who had been mute began to speak. Toby, F's brother, walked into the crowd and hugged her. "I remember everything now," he said. "I am back." Men started flocking around Chika again. It was as if everything had returned to normal. Farmers who had lost their crops returned to find their fields green again. Amoka's customers began to return. One by one, destinies were being restored. But it wasn't all joy. The ones who had bought those stolen destinies began to feel the consequences. Ajayi's farmlands were destroyed as all his crops died, as well as his livestock. Everything he got with his ill-gotten wealth died or was destroyed. The village was torn, half rejoicing, half broken. Some people came forward and admitted what they had done. "I went to her," one man confessed, shaking. "She promised me money. But now, I have lost everything. She made me rich," said another. "But I lost my soul." The villagers listened. And instead of punishment, the elders chose cleansing. They held a 7-day ritual to purify the village. No work was done. People prayed, fasted, and made a sacrifice to the gods. They buried the ashes of Mama Oyin's shrine far away in the forest, under the watch of the gods. After the cleansing, peace slowly returned to Okuta. People learned to value hard work again. They stopped looking for shortcuts. They returned to farming, fishing, and honest trade. The market became full again, not of stolen wealth, but of joy. F became a hero, though she never saw herself that way. The village elders called her to the square and gave her a new title, Ife Destiny, the protector of fates. Children gathered around her to hear the story of how she defeated the destiny thief. Women brought her food. Men praised her courage. But F stayed humble. In her heart, she was still the girl who wanted to save her brother. At night, she sat with Mama Ejiro and asked, "Did I do the right thing?" "You did what the God sent you to do," Mama Ejiro replied. "But remember, evil doesn't die. It only hides." "Will someone like Mama Oyin return?" F asked. "Maybe. Or maybe a new kind of thief will come. That's why we must always protect our destinies. With truth. With love. With sacrifice." F nodded and looked at the stars. She had faced darkness and won. But she knew her journey was not over. She decided to become a seer and learn from Mama Ejiro. One day, when the old woman was gone, F would guide others, just as she had been guided. And Okuta would remain strong. Because its people had learned the hard lesson. Destiny is not something to be sold. It is something to be protected. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the story, like the video and hit the subscribe button. Thank you.